And we are back. Welcome to Bout That Life Podcast. I'm your host, Coach C.Collins. If you are here checking me out for the first time on the YouTube algorithm, I appreciate it, man. Do the HBO special, help a brother out. Maybe hit that like, hit that subscribe. Got a great show for you guys today. Got a young kid. I've watched him grow up throughout the years. Another Sacramento kid. Just got drafted to the league, which is obviously a lot of people's dreams out there. So we're going to delve into who he is, his story, and get in-depth insight on the journey that it takes to get to the level that he got to. And his career is still far from done. So this is a great time to ask questions and get some insight. So go ahead, check the intro out, come back. We'll see you when you get back.
Phenix Fitness 24/7 basketball facility in Rocklin, California. It's Bout That Life Podcast with your host, Coach C.Collins and Coach MJ.
Get it started. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Coach C.Collins. Welcome to About That Life Podcast, where we talk a little bit of basketball life and everything in between, where I try to give you guys some insight, some great guests, some knowledge, and free game to help you in your basketball journey. Again, if you are listening on the audio side and you feel so inclined to support and follow, please go ahead and do that. It's one small click for you, big help for me. Do the HBO special, help a brother out. But if you don't feel any pressure about it. Get this knowledge, soak it in, get some free game, and hopefully it'll help you and you parents and you young athletes in your basketball journey or even in your sports journey. Just everything I try to do is to help create insight and information so you guys can navigate this crazy field of ours. So before I get to my guests, I want to do a quick shout out, obviously, to my sponsors as usual. Shout out to Dr. Dish, best shooting machine on the market. They have a range of models. They have the home edition, which I would strongly suggest if you're trying to get your shots up at home. We all know kids, athletes got to get shots up to get better, especially at game speed. So they got the All-Star, the Rebel. Tell them About That Life sent you. They will hook you up with a discount. Also, my other sponsor, Hardwood Palace, if you're looking for AAU tournaments, if you are looking for rec leagues, if you're looking for just a good introductory way to play basketball and us go hopefully eventually into the competitive side, check out Hardwood Palace right here in Rocklin, California. It's right next door to the YBA facility. Contact Steve or Grant, let them know About That Life sent you, and they'll hook you up. All right. So with all that being said, I would like to get to my guest. So my guest here is a really cool, unique circumstance. We are catching an athlete who was just drafted to the NBA. His journey, and he's a Sacramento-born kid, so Sacramento-born and raised kid, like, watching his journey from where he was, first time I saw him was like middle school, high school, and to watch the progression of what he's evolved into and what he's become is amazing to watch. We're going to delve into his story, but, definitely I would say this is a very cool episode to catch literally the beginning of a young man's professional career, right? It's very rare to catch somebody in that moment. It's like getting a rookie card of Michael Jordan. That card's probably worth $1 million right now, right? So we get the opportunity to talk to this young man, and obviously from this episode, you get some insight to who he is and then see how his career evolves. Obviously, for me, I'm biased. I want him to have the best career ever. I want him to succeed and have value in everything he's doing. But, without further ado, let me introduce Jalen Wells. How you doing, Jay?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Again, thank you for taking the time to do this. I know you have a busy schedule. I know you've had about 30 kids from YBA run up to you and say hi and ask for photos. But no, man, again, I really appreciate you doing this. want to get right to it. So, tell the people that are listening, who you are, kind of a brief synopsis of your career. Obviously, we'll talk about the different milestones as we go. But, introduce yourself to the world so people know who you are.
I'm Jalen Wells, born and raised in Sacramento. Went to Folsom High School. Out of high school, didn't have any D1 offers. Had 2 D2 offers, one to Western Oregon, one to Sonoma State. Ended up going to Sonoma State and then played there for 2 years and then transferred to Washington State for 1 year. Just got to a bigger platform and then succeeded there and got drafted 39th pick to Memphis Grizzlies.
All right. So let's talk. Well, the first question, again, like I typically ask to all my guests, because this is primarily a show about AAU basketball. Tell the audience your AAU teams, your primary AAU teams, and after you do that, the question I overall ask is, seeing AAU basketball for what it stands and where it sits right now in 2024, and you being kind of removed from it for obviously a few years, maybe you could tell me some pros, some cons, what you think of it overall, and tell the audience your perspective of it.
Growing up, like elementary school, middle school, I played for a lot of AAU teams. I played for the top ones, maybe not as competitive ones. I played for Soldiers, Team Lillard, all those teams. So, but high school, main AAU team was Rose City Ballers. They kind of helped me put myself on the map. I had an opportunity to play for like a circuit team. I had an opportunity to play for Team Lillard. Obviously, that was a really competitive team in high school. But I kind of just chose to go with Rose City just because they had faith in me. They had a plan for me, and they kind of had a bigger role for me just to hoop and get to the next level. Just going. It was a very new program too. So I think I literally went to like their first tryout ever.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, like we want to build a team around him, and like. I'll take that rather than just going playing for any circuit team, sitting in the corner and playing defense.
Right.
I think at the next level you might have to do that, but when you're playing AAU in high school, you're trying to get better and get to college. So I don't think that's the best for getting to college.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of pros and cons. Obviously, there's the top AAU teams. They offer you different things. You're playing against the best competition. You're playing against the strongest guys, the fastest guys. You got all the cameras on you, the media. So I think it's really depends on what you're looking for.
Right.
If you're trying to develop, I don't think playing on those top teams is always the best decision. Like for me, I went to Rose City and I was doing everything. I was dribbling. I was doing things that I wasn't really allowed to do in high school for my high school team. So just the way I looked at it and the way like my dad kind of looked at it was just like we can't do all the things we want to like develop in your high school team when they're trying to win conference, all that stuff. Of course. So find a place outside of that where you can actually develop and do all those things. So I feel like and then when you play it for like the lower teams, you may not get that media, you may not get
like the exposure.
Yeah, so right. I feel like it all has its pros and cons. It's really just what you're looking for.
Okay.
I think if you're playing I think you just gotta kind of balance it.
Okay.
If you're playing all your high school years on a top AAU team, I feel like you kind of need to experience both.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's bad, but you just kind of balance it both out and get the pros from both.
Right. Well, and obviously it worked out for you in the long run anyway, right? And I always say it like this, because to be fair, Rose City still had a solid platform, right? They were on the UA, and they're currently now with Puma and whatnot, and they were on the UA Rise, for those in case you don't know the lingo, right? The AAU lingo. They were on the UA Rise. Along with myself 1 year. So, but they were on it prior to me. But it's like that's still a solid platform. But is it like, the highest of the highs, like the Nike UIBLs and all that stuff? No, but it's still enough.
Wasn't even, when I was playing, we were still Adidas.
Oh, you're still Adidas? Oh, okay.
Adidas Silver Gauntlet.
Okay, yeah. So you guys are really like, yeah, that's the beginning. But like you said, you got the most out of it because you were able to have the freedom to expand your game and, play outside your role, right? So I think it's kind of really cool that you said that because, there's always that argument in the AAU world. The guy I argue with the most about it is Marcus, right? Mr. Striver Brothers, you can't guard me, blah, 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 blah. But no, I argue with him the most about this because he's always like, to develop, you have to play at the highest level, right? You got to play at the Nike EYBLs, the Adidas, 3SSBs, and I go, no. I tell him, no, I believe it depends on the kid and depend on what's best for him. So that's why it was kind of cool for you to speak on that difference, right? Because I think I personally, my personal take, I do think sometimes kids and parents get too swept up, in the free gear and all this, and they're not thinking about what's best for my child to, get the maximum success they can get. So let's talk briefly about, your time with Rose City and them as a program, because for those who don't know, that's a Sacramento-based program. Right. And as I've talked about many times on this show, I really want to make and uplift Sacramento, and I would love to get a fully sponsored, shoe circuit team out here on one of the major circuits. PHPS just got one. They're with New Balance, but they've always kind of figured out ways to get their team sponsored and things like that. But I think Sacramento should have like an EYBL team or a 3SSB team or a UAA team, either one. And I'm biased. Like, of course, I want my program to be the one, but, I'm biased. Like, I'm not going to hide that fact. But it wouldn't matter overall to me to any program that achieves it. I just feel like Sacramento needs one because our talent gets outsourced all the time. Yeah. So, kind of what compelled you to stick with a Sacramento team, like you said, when you had opportunities to play outside of Sacramento?
Yeah, I mean, it was more just they had a plan for me, and just getting to know them as people. It was ran by Brandon and Brendan, and just you knew that they love basketball. You knew that, like, just being with them, they're gonna do what's best for you. They're not all for the hype, for the money, and they were doing it for the love of basketball. So we just knew it was a great program. I mean, like I said, I went to the first ever tryout. He literally just DM'd me one day, and I was just like, "Hey, Dad, like this team DM'd me. Like, what do you think?" He's like, "Oh, we might as well go."
Let's check it out. Yep.
and then I showed up, and we just kind of seen the passion in them. I mean, I think it was me and Cole Simon.
Yeah,
me
of course.
And Cole Simon, like it was me and him just killing the tryouts. But yeah, even though like they didn't have the best competition there, like. We just kind of knew it was the right place.
Okay.
I think that's what it's about, just like finding the right fit, finding the right place that's going to develop you.
Okay.
And yeah, we ended up sticking with it. Obviously, we could have played somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was right. I mean, even through COVID too, like they did everything in their power to keep playing. We'd go to Idaho all the time. So yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of it's just is being around the right people, surrounding yourself by the right people.
Do you think that helps you having like coaches and a staff that seem to be invested in you as the person, Jalen Wells, on top of obviously the athlete? Like, do you think that helps? Or because, sometimes and it's no knock on these programs because it is a business at the end of the day. Like this, it's just the business of sports. Sometimes programs have to be a little more invested on the talent of the kid than necessarily the person, right? I don't think they're inherently evil or trying to do anything wrong there, but I think that's just kind of unfortunate. It's an unfortunate side effect of when you become so big and so good. You know what I mean? So do you think, like, did that help you having people that, like, really were in your corner and had your back?
No, definitely. I think that's ultimately what got me to Sonoma State. Also, I mean, like you said, like, a lot of these teams bring in players from different states, even countries, play every different tournament. Every tournament they have 10 different players. Yeah. I mean, Rose City might have one or two different players here and there. Right. But for the most part, they're developing their own players, and just kind of put it in like back into their own program rather than just finding whatever kid they can from Utah or whatever it was.
Yeah. No, and I think that's big. I mean, I wanted to talk to you about like your dad. He's, I've known your family quite a while, actually. Like I knew your sister and your brother when we were younger. I'm old now, but but I met your dad a long time ago when I was a young man and I was playing college ball and whatnot. And he's you know, we're friends on social media. He's always been proud of you and your siblings' accomplishments and all that stuff. But you know, how big of a role did he help play in what you've become today?
Yeah, huge role. He sacrificed a lot. Him and my mom, they both sacrificed a lot of their time.
Oh yeah, shout out to moms too. So.
Yeah. No, they sacrificed a lot of their time. I mean, the amount of times they drove. I mean, my mom would show up at every game. Washington State, like she's been the Pullman, and if you know Pullman,
Yeah.
that's not an easy trip.
No, it's not.
But she's been there a lot. But yeah, I mean, just being there, they always stay positive, kept giving me advice. My dad, after every game, always giving me these 2-hour lectures. I used to hate them, but obviously you find value in
Right.
it. But yeah, I mean, just being able to grow up with two parents that love basketball just like I do and love the dream that I want. I think that was probably the biggest thing.
When did you like start playing? Did you like when you were a little kid? Do you remember like 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old? Do you remember like when you?
See, my parents put me in like every single sport. So I mean, I played tennis, I did football, gymnastics.
See, y'all need to listen. I tell parents this all the time. Put your kids in a lot of sports.
Yeah,
See,
and
listen.
then I think I ended up just sticking with the 3. I think it was probably like through first or third grade. I had 3 main sports, which was gymnastics, football, and basketball.
Okay.
And then I ended up quitting football, and then I ended up quitting gymnastics. I kind of just fell in love with basketball. So I mean, as long as I can remember, I was playing basketball.
Okay. And so, you know, I'm sure your dad was, you know, like you said, but you're beyond the lectures, you know, the training, the workouts and things like that. Was for you, I mean, I'm sure you worked out on your own. Every basketball player works out on their own. But I'm saying, did you have like a bunch of trainers, or did you have like just 1 or 2 you gravitate to, or was your dad mainly your trainer, or do you remember that story?
I felt like I always had like 1 or 2 trainers. I have like 1 main trainer, and then maybe because I used to kind of move around Sacramento a lot.
Yeah.
When it was close, I had that 1 trainer. I mean, I had Danielle Viglione. She helped me in high school.
Shout out to her. I'm trying to get her on the show too.
Oh yeah. She helped me a lot in high school with my shot. Dante Miller, he was another big trainer in high school that helped me in middle school. I obviously went to Country Day, Ankrum. I was always at Ankrum ever since I was a kid. You know AD?
Yeah.
AD.
Of course.
I'm missing some more.
It's all right.
But yeah,
they know who you are.
Yeah, and I think well, my parents just did a good job of just surrounding me with the right people.
Right.
They always wanted to see me succeed. They were never doing anything like behind our backs. So I think that was good.
And then let's circle back to your high school career. In case you guys missed it, he's at Folsom High School. Where did you go? Did you go all 4 years there? Yeah. Okay, yeah. We'll just have to ask that. You know, kids transfer all the time, so I have to. And obviously that's with Coach Mike Wall. Yeah. You know, how was that experience? You know what I mean? And because, you know, the reality is this, like, and you know, I watched you in your high school career and everything, and you were solid. It wasn't like you sucked or anything like that. And you were never that. But to be honest with you, you weren't as good as you are now. So I'm just curious how your high school journey, you know, what was that like? What did you feel? Maybe some of your ups and downs, things like that.
No, yeah, that definitely wasn't perfect. Coming into high school, I was 5'8" as a freshman. I was probably the start of the year off as like the 15th or 16th man on JV.
Or you're like 5'8", a $105?
Yeah. Only reason I got on JV was because my best friend Cody.
Okay.
He transferred, or he went to Folsom also, and they're like, he's good enough to play JV, but we were kind of like best friends. So they said, okay, let's bring him up too.
Yeah.
So I was really like the last person on the team. I had some decent games in here and there. You know, we had like a tournament, championship game. I had 30. But then I was inconsistent.
Okay.
But like even during that freshman year, they're like, yeah, you're gonna end up playing varsity next year, so just be ready.
Okay.
And everything. That didn't happen.
Okay.
I was on JV my sophomore year. I was probably around 5'11".
Mm-hmm.
I was even starting. I was the sixth man. All the freshmen were starting in front of me. So
I'm sure that frustrated you.
Yeah, it kind of felt like they're kind of like pushing me out the way for the freshmen.
Yeah.
A little bit. But just like you said, like, did I go there all 4 years? Like, I think that was one of those moments where a lot of people would transfer.
Yes, 100%.
But that's just not kind of the way I look at things.
Okay.
So I mean, I just kept working. Grew to 6'2" my junior year. Ended up starting every single varsity game as a junior. 6'2". Had a decent year. Probably averaged around 9 points, 4 rebounds. Decent year as a starter. And then COVID happened at the end of that year.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the hardest I ever worked in my life.
Yeah.
I would go to the Folsom High School, run bleachers, just find a hoop around the city. Because they used to take the rims down.
Yeah.
So, like, really just find a hoop. I mean, Danielle, we used to work on this, it was like a church gym.
Okay.
And had a carpet floor.
Oh, yeah.
So we were working out there almost every day. Dante opened up his gym for me. But yeah, that was probably the hardest I ever worked in my life. So I went from averaging 9 and 4 to averaging 28 and 9. 28 and 8.
That is a significant jump.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously after that year, like, I mean, that's a pretty good year, especially at Folsom. Folsom's really pretty competitive high school.
Absolutely.
Usually people average that, they're probably going D1.
Yeah.
I had 0 D1 offers, 2 Division II offers. None of them were full scholarships. It was Western Oregon, Sonoma State, and then a lot of people were telling me just kind of like walk on and everything. Walk on.
Like try to walk on at a D1.
Sac State or whatever it was. But I kind of wanted to be a place, like I said, being in Bro City, kind of being a place where they had a plan for me, like they wanted me there. And so I ended up choosing Sonoma State. Probably the best decision I made in my career.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, just being able to develop as a person, as a player, as a leader, and yeah.
Okay.
That's my answer.
No, and then, well, you turn the page. You're at Sonoma State, and like I said, that's a huge jump considering. And then obviously your height and your size is starting to kick in more and more, I'm sure. Because I mean, shit, you're taller than me, so you 6'8", 6'7"?
Yeah, I was 6'6" my senior year in high school.
Okay,
playing
yeah,
point guard.
so that those growth spurts help too.
Yeah.
So now you're at Sonoma State. Let's fast forward. You're there. You're at Sonoma. Because again, I was watching from afar. I always kind of watch you kids and hear things from afar, and a lot of people are talking about your growth as just a player in general, your ability to score, your ability to create shots, your athleticism, your defense. Like people were saying, "Hey man, like Jaylen's out here killing." Like, so I'm like, "Oh wow, okay, yeah, I remember that kid." Like I'm looking at like, can you talk about the psychological switch that just went off? I mean, obviously, I'm assuming your coach and you guys had some conversations where he was like, "Hey, man, look, I believe in you. Here's the keys to the car, but you got to drive it." You know what I mean? But if you can talk about that transition psychologically from the 5'8" freshman kid, barely scraping by to, okay, now I'm at a D2 and I'm the guy.
Yeah. I don't really think it was a switch. I think I'm just kind of a person that kind of just keeps grinding until I get the spotlight. Once I finally got that chance to be on varsity and they gave me the keys, I shined.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's kind of how it's been in every situation.
Okay.
Sonoma State, Washington State. I mean, I feel like
even this summer league, this past summer league, you did some great stuff.
So yeah, I mean, obviously I was 5'8", but I mean, I just had a great work ethic. And it all came together at once.
Mm-hmm.
Got the keys. I grew to 6'6". So yeah, I think I just needed that opportunity, and once I had the opportunity, I kind of took it.
So And I want to talk about that too. The work, how often do you work out? I mean, obviously, I would assume every day to a degree, but I'm just saying, like you said, that especially that COVID year where I'm assuming was just relentless at it. But like, maybe you can talk, because I have a lot of obviously kids and parents that listen to my podcast, right? Because they're trying to get insight on. It's crazy because we all say the same thing, no matter what level you played at, whether it's JUCO to the pros, whatever. We all say the same thing. You can go on any of these past episodes, Jordan Ford, Kai Huntsberry, all these guys. They say, hey, Bobby, when Bobby was here, like you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. There's no days off. You got to put in the work. And then, parents are like, and kids are like, well, how do you make it? It's like we're all saying, we're all saying the same thing. So maybe if they hear it from you, it's a different voice. But I just want you to talk about, your work ethic, your discipline, your workouts, what keeps you motivated. Just talk about that whole process if you can.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes from just my dad. My dad used to always take me to go work out at like 24 Hour Fitness, CalFit. And then I kind of fell in love with working, and I kind of just did it by myself. I didn't really need him to go work out. I would just go out and, work by myself. So it wasn't him pushing me. It was now me just
coming from you.
Loving the game and wanting to get better. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the way I feel like I think and I'm wired, like my whole day is based on basketball.
Okay.
Like, I schedule my things around basketball. For example, today I had a 9 a.m. workout to 10:30, and then had like a 3 p.m. workout, and then obviously now I got this. But like when I wake up, I'm thinking, okay, what am I gonna eat? So I'm ready for this workout. After this workout, I got how much time I got in between. Maybe I'll play one college football game.
Right.
Eat right after. Eat a little snack before, and then so like I feel like everything I do for my day is kind of like around basketball. I don't know how healthy that is. But
we're all a little crazy. That's one thing I say when you're a basketball, junkie like we are. Like there's a switch broken with us. like we're not normal, but that's okay, right? Because it's in a constructive way.
Yeah, my dad always taught me, just like growing up, he always say like beat tired.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that was one of the things. Like if you're gonna miss all your shots, at least you're not tired doing it, though.
Yeah.
And I mean, to play defense, you can't be tired.
Right.
So one of those biggest things for me was just being conditioned and being well conditioned, being able to play the whole game, being able to run up and down the whole game.
Okay. No, that's great. I mean, so would you say, well, your discipline might be one of your, like, would you consider that one of your strongest attributes? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, discipline, and it's kind of the way I think. I'm just always a positive person. I just kind of have to learn how to take the positive out of the negative.
Okay.
Sonoma, my freshman year at Sonoma State, we went 3-25.
Oof. Yeah.
But I think there was a lot of learning that year. You got to learn how to lose.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
And we lost a lot.
You lose before you win, right?
Right. But it was, I think one of the things that I learned from that year was just like the different paths that everyone took. I mean, we had 24-year-olds that, was at school for 6 years trying to get their master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
People that are just, one of my best friends, Jake Salinero, he probably had 10 DMPs his last year when it was my freshman year.
Oh, wow.
And he's now playing pro in Germany.
That's very cool.
So, I mean, like, the guys you, like, kind of connect with and, like, learn their journey, it's, like, it's so much different. Everyone's so different.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's just kind of make it in their own way.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the greatest thing. And if you watched our last game, when we're 3-24 and we ended up losing the 25th game, you would think that we went 25-0.
Yeah.
That was just kind of the way our team was wired.
Right.
And we kind of just always stay together, stay positive. So I think I learned a lot from that year.
Okay. Well, and that's good because obviously that next year. So you transferred after your sophomore year, correct?
Yeah, I did 2 years there.
Okay. So let's go to that transition. You transferred, hit the transfer portal. You get to UW,
Washington State.
Or Washington State, sorry. Sorry. Washington State. Yeah, thanks for correcting me.
The Cougar fans
yeah, you're right. My fault, y'all. My fault.
Yeah.
No, you get there, I think a lot of people from the outside looking in don't quite understand how all that works. When I had Zach Chappelle on the show, we talked details about how the transfer portal works. So obviously if someone's listened to the past show, they understand it. But for newcomers or maybe someone who doesn't know, you know, you put you go to basically admissions or whatever, they put you in that transfer portal, and then you kind of either have something already set up to go to, or you kind of sit back and wait and see if that phone rings or whatever. What made you pick that particular school?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just felt right. I feel like that's one of those things, like when you know.
Mm-hmm.
I know if you know Wayne Hunter, he's from Sacramento. He was black coach on the staff. We really connected well. And then they kind of, like, we went on a Zoom with my family, and they had a plan, and they seemed like they believed in me.
Okay.
And then obviously I took a visit there. Took a visit to Pullman. The community was great.
Nice.
Like, you walk around anywhere, you have a logo on, they're going to say Go Cougs. Like, really the whole city is just sitting around, like Washington State.
So the
really
culture,
cool.
the culture was rich.
And actually, it was crazy because my flight there, it took me I was in the airport for about 20 hours.
Whoa.
I woke up at like 4 a.m., took a flight to Seattle.
Yeah.
Stuck in the Seattle airport for like 15 hours.
Oh, man.
I finally took the last flight out to we couldn't fly into Poland. We had to fly into Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
Landed in Spokane at 12 a.m. and the coach came and picked us up from Spokane Airport. Drove an hour and a half to Pullman.
Wow. Well, that's dedication.
And, like, so I missed that whole day of my visit, and then we had like a day and a morning left.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, like you said, it felt right, you know, and obviously it worked out. So you're now there, gearing up, ready to do your thing. You know, your mentality's obviously in the right place, body in shape, the grind, the work, all that good stuff. You know, and you had some great games, obviously. You know, for those, I would suggest you look up his resume. Of course, I'm going to have his Instagram link in the description, so you know, you guys can follow him and look at his journey. But you know, what was your mindset going into that situation?
Honestly, I didn't know where I was going to end up as far as in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was just blindly working.
Okay.
Honestly, when I got there, it felt like I was like 12th, 13th man.
Okay.
There was a lot of wings in my position. Even after the season, the coach ended up telling me, like, they were thinking of redshirting me.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, obviously, exact opposite happened.
Yeah. No doubt. I'm just surprised to hear that.
But yeah, I was just working. You know, I had a couple of injuries. I had one injury, but it kept keep coming and going. So it wasn't looking too positive at the start of the year. But I was definitely showing like spurts even when I was healthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just kept working. I mean, I think coming from Sonoma State to Washington State, you appreciate the resources you get.
Right.
Because I mean, having 24-hour gym access, having food,
trainers, right,
everywhere.
all that. Yeah.
Trainers, GAs, managers, 5 extra coaches. Like, that was a crazy change to me. I think I actually had to like learn how to use these resources.
Yeah.
I was so used to doing everything on my own.
Right.
So yeah, that was kind of like one of the biggest things, is just like learning to appreciate, you know, what you didn't have at Sonoma State. And I was using it. I was using it all.
As you should. As you should.
But yeah, I was definitely just kind of blindly working. You know, like I said, I just keep grinding until I get that opportunity. First 4 or 5 games, I didn't really play that much. But I had some good minutes here and there. I kept getting more and more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I had the opportunity. The opportunity was against USC. First game I started.
Yeah.
LeBron was courtside. I think I had 15, 16 points in the first half.
Yep.
We ended up winning. It was a huge conference win for us.
Didn't you have not to interrupt, I just remember that. I recall that game because that's when everyone was like, "Oh, did you see what Jaylen did? Didn't you have like 22 or 24 that game, or did you have more?"
I ended up with like 21 or 22.
Yeah.
But yeah, had a really good game, big conference win for us, and I kind of just never looked back from there.
Man, that's so cool. Like, just on the fun, I mean, has it sunk in, like, really, like, your story? you know what I mean? Your story is not the traditional. You do understand you are living the underdog story. You know what I mean? Like, and again, it's not a knock on you, like, you know, you don't deserve it. You fucking earned every step of the way. It's just, I wonder, have you really had that realization? You know what I mean? Like, your story's gonna make a good movie, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, my agent was literally telling me, he told me during, like, my pre-draft process, he was like, a year and a half ago, you were playing against Humboldt State.
Yeah.
No disrespect, Humboldt State.
Right, but still, there's levels, like, to this.
But now you just, you know, you had 30 against Arizona. Now you're, playing against NBA guys, and you're playing in summer league. Like,
and you just dropped 50 in Vancouver.
Yeah, like, and literally 2 years ago, you were playing Humboldt State, and, you know, there was probably 200 people watching. So it's like, yeah, when he said that, kind of put things into perspective, and it's kind of crazy.
How, I mean, I'm sure of course, I imagine you're appreciative of everybody who supported you and everyone who's been around you. And I'm sure you've had people who probably doubted you along the way. I mean, that just comes with the territory. But like I said, where you're sitting at now, obviously getting ready to climb another mountain, right? You know, being a professional athlete. And again, you might have heard this 1,978,100,000 times, but again, congratulations. You know, let me be the one to add to it. No, congratulations. You got drafted. As we all talk about, you know, plenty of NBA podcasts all say this, and I'm no different. I'm going to say, you know, there's 450 jobs in the league. You got one of them, right? Yep. What are you looking forward to? What's, you know, I'm sure, you know, there's the anxiousness, you know, like you're geared up, you're ready to go, but, you know, in your mind, kind of, what are some key things you want to focus on, or maybe some key elements and things you're looking for yourself to be able to do out on that court?
Yeah, honestly, just looking forward to learn. There's a lot of new things to learn in the NBA. A lot of, like, there's obviously a lot of new rules. There's less time on the shot clock.
Yeah.
Game's much faster. You got people that's been in the NBA for 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, like, and there's just, like, so many little things that, you know, they know how to make you get a foul call. They know how to, you know, foul you without the ref seeing it. So I think a lot of it's just that, just being able to be around those NBA guys every single day, being around stronger, faster guys, and just, I feel like you naturally get better that way. But yeah, definitely excited to learn. And I feel like I'm kind of going to season similar to, like, Washington State. You know,
right.
I don't really know where I might end up in the rotation. I might be up and down in the G League, or, but yeah, just ready for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Whenever that opportunity comes, I'm gonna be ready.
Just be ready, exactly. And that seems to be a theme with you, which is a good theme. It's kind of a poetic thing that you got drafted by Memphis, because you know, that's kind of that was their whole theme, grit and grind, and you know what I mean, like, kind of, you know, that working class. The
reporter was saying they're called the Underdog City.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's kind of actually, like I said, very poetic that you ended up there. Well, you know, obviously, I wish you nothing but success. I'm sure, you know, your family, you got a bunch of people rooting for you, man, and I'm proud to see it. It's always interesting, you know, kind of seeing how everything plays out when it comes to everybody's individual path, right? Yours, like I said, is definitely not the glamorous traditional story. It's a very cool underdog story, and obviously hopefully the chapter is far from closed, right? Yep. Have you had opportunities to obviously well let me, before you ask that, I want to talk about the summer league a little bit. Obviously you played well in the summer league. You hit a game winner too, right? Like, so, you know, what did you learn from that experience? You know, I mean, playing in the summer league, kind of getting introduced, I'm assuming, to the coaching staff, and, you know, meeting those people. I got to catch a little bit of your games when I text you when I was in Vegas briefly. And you and AJ Johnson, right? You know, what did you learn from that experience?
A lot of it was just getting used to the speed. Having a 24-second shot clock, it's much faster than you think it is.
Yeah.
You can come down and shoot a three, and no one really cares.
Right.
15 seconds
Right.
left on the shot clock. No one really cares.
Right. Like in college, they're like, no, that's too
Yeah.
quick, right?
So I think like having that next play mentality is so much more important when you're in the league rather than like college. Because I mean, you're shooting a lot more shots. There's a lot more things going on every single play. So a lot of us just getting used to that speed. And I kind of just found my role within that team. A lot of people were saying I wasn't really a good defender.
Okay.
I think I showed myself like I was just going to go out there and defend. I wasn't knocking down my shots at the start. Wasn't as efficient. So, I mean, I knew I had to do something to help us win.
Yeah.
Which for me, that was, doing whatever it was off the ball. I wasn't knocking down shots. So I was just guarding, picking up full court, trying to get steals, just trying to disrupt the offense. Just making the right play.
Yeah.
I never really been that type of like selfish player that's like go out there. I need 30.
Right.
I don't need 30. I need to win.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I look at it.
Okay. So as you were obviously going through your games in the summer league and adapting to the speed and things like that, and obviously playing against really good competition on top of that, because obviously in that situation everybody's hungry, everybody's trying to play their role or do their best. Do you think that pushed you to elevate your game? At that, because quite frankly, that level is the highest level. Whether it be summer league and then the NBA, whatever you want to call it, that's the highest level. And in this basketball realm of ours, did you kind of feel like, man, this is like the toughest level that's going to push me to be the best version of yourself?
Definitely. I mean, even from the first game to the last championship game we had, I feel like I was 10 times better.
Okay.
I think a lot of the stuff is not even about skills. It's more just about your mindset and, like what you're picking up and, taking the mistakes you made and then not creating those same mistakes.
Okay.
Even like we had when I went to Memphis after getting drafted, we had like 3 weeks of workouts. I think just being in that environment, having those NBA trainers and having those resources, like just being there in general, I felt like I got better. Yeah.
And then, and the staff, the chance to meet the staff, and like you said, going to Memphis and seeing the environment and the atmosphere. How do you like it overall?
Oh no, it's great. I love the Memphis staff. There's a lot of new coaches too, so I feel like everyone's kind of getting used to Memphis a little bit. But yeah, I mean, there's no unanswered question.
Okay. All right.
They have something for everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm finally starting to learn that literally, if you need a toenail clipper,
they gonna find something.
Yeah.
I remember because I've been practice players even back when the Kings were like back at Arco and the Monarchs and all that stuff, and I just remember they have candy and Gatorades and whatever, just like whatever you need is always in that gym. So that's one of the cool parts of making it to that level, because they're gonna make sure. Because the reality is you're an investment for them, and they want to see return on that investment, and obviously you want to see return on your investment because you've invested your life into this, right? So it just makes sense. Everybody's hopefully on the same page. Before we move on to the next segment, I wanted to talk to you about there's some news, obviously some good news that I saw, and has been put out there. You're starting or you're associated with your own AAU program and brand. I mean, I'm sure you and Rose City are partnered or whatnot. I don't. Is Rose City going to change their name, or is it just it's just more of a partnership with you?
Yeah. So one of the teams is mine. It's going to be Jalen Wells Elite.
Okay.
Different colorways can match like the Memphis colors and everything.
Nice.
So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just being able to be in charge of the team that I literally played on.
You're right.
And I was literally there at the start, and now I'm able to have my own team that has my name on it, and be able to support them. So it's pretty cool.
And is there anything you want to add about that or that program or put out there? Because obviously high school start back up, so we're not, and nobody's in. Well, some people are. I'm not. I'm not in recruitment phase until like January next year or whatever. But obviously. this is pretty cool in terms of for you and the Rose City guys. You know, even though they're my competitors, at the end of the day, I respect what they do, and I respect anybody that's out here helping you guys succeed. You know, we haven't had a NBA program, you know, with an NBA player attached to the name since Matt Barnes Elite, and that was, I think, a while ago. So, and that was with Dwayne and whatnot. So, you've brought something like that back. You know, is there anything more you want to speak on that, or you know, let people know about it, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the goal is to compete, be the best we can, win as much as possible. But just knowing, I'm just happy to know that there's great people a part of this, because I literally been through the organization. So knowing that the two people running it, helping run it, is one of the best in the business, because I mean I've got firsthand experience of being with them. So I think that's probably the most important part. So just knowing that my team's in good hands.
All right, good. So let's move on. We are going to hot takes. Let's talk about a few recent things in basketball news, AAU news. You know, in general, before we get into the juicy stuff, Jay, I always ask kind of this stuff. Who's your top 5 all time?
All time. This is my top 5?
Your top 5. Now, your subjective opinion, your top 5.
All right. Put in D Wade first.
D Wade?
Yep.
Okay, that's different. Most would say MJ, Kobe, LeBron, whatever. Okay, D Wade, I like that.
Going D Wade. I never really know for like LeBron and MJ.
Or you can even, I even say this as alternative. You can make like your all time starting 5.
Oh, okay.
Like you can say point guard, this one, shooting guard. You know what I mean? Either one, either way
Point
you go.
guard, I'm putting Allen Iverson.
Okay.
Shooting guard, I'm putting Dwayne Wade.
All right.
I put Jordan at the small forward. I'm gonna put LeBron at the 4, and I'm putting Shaq at the 5.
All right, I can't be mad at that. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good all time 5. No who might no KD. No doubt. If you had to say your game, like maybe someone you think like you model your game after, or you know someone you kind of always, or at least feel you play like, who would you think this is your game similar to, or mirrors kind of? I mean, we all have our own game, but you know what I'm saying.
I have no idea, honestly. Like going through the pre-draft process, everyone was like comparing me to like a Keegan Murray or like a Trey Murphy.
Okay.
But like someone I model my game after. Like I really like watching Jimmy Butler.
Okay,
Like,
nice.
I feel like I'm a simple player. He's simple, you know.
And tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna guard, get steals, kind of just do whatever he does, do what he can to win.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like a player I like, and a player I like to try to model after.
Okay. For like you said on the defensive end, you said it. You know, at first people thought maybe, hey, he's not that good on defense or whatever. Is that something you want to kind of disprove when you get out? When you get out playing, and preseason's coming up and all that stuff. Is that something kind of a chip on your shoulder you want to prove out there?
Yeah, because going to Washington State was the first time in my life someone said I was a bad defender. Like the whole coaching staff was all on board that
You took that personal,
huh? Like throughout the whole year, still a bad defender. I thought that was crazy. Because I mean, going Folsom, all defense.
Yeah.
So I mean, you couldn't get on the floor if you couldn't play defense.
Right.
And just personally, I'm a defensive mind. Like I love playing defense. So just being able to hear it, like just hearing that I'm a bad defender, like that
rubbed you the wrong way.
Yeah, that made me mad.
Yeah, man. I mean, so let's say, is there a couple guys you looking forward to as far as dream matchups? Obviously, if you get out on the court, like that you're looking forward to go at and guarding.
I mean, obviously LeBron,
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Butler, my teammate Isaac Jones.
Okay.
I already kind of guarded him. Jared McCain.
Yeah.
Another Sacramento guy.
Yeah.
It's probably the main ones.
Okay. Well, let me get into more of my, quote unquote, hot takes, juicy questions or whatever. I like I spoke on earlier, I'm big on trying to elevate Sacramento. That's a huge goal of mine, right? Even though I'm originally from Oakland, but Oakland, Sacramento homes, you know what I mean? And I'm big on trying to elevate the basketball scene out here, and also I'm big on trying to work together and unify Sacramento. I feel it's in a place where it's semi-unified and semi-divided, like people are kind of choosing their own camps. My overall thing I would love to see is 10 Sacramento studs all play under whatever Sacramento program. Obviously, those we all put our resources together to fund it, because that's always the biggest thing, is the financial side. And they go out there and they kill. You know what I mean? Instead of outsourcing to the Compton Magics, the Soldiers, whatnot. And that's not a knock on any of their programs or what do they do. I know those people personally, and I've had these same conversations to their face. I'm just biased, right? Like I just, I want to see us elevate and create something out here. What's your standpoints on that, or if you have any at all, or your thoughts on something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you see a lot of people that started in Sacramento that go somewhere else and they blow up, which I feel like that shouldn't have to be the case, which it is the case in a lot of times. But, I mean,
take your time, man.
I don't even know. But,
man, take your time, man. It's all about just your thoughts. I don't know what it's going to take to get everybody to work together. I think the biggest thing is getting rid of egos. I think a lot of people have egos in this, and a lot of people, I mean, I don't know if you've experienced anything like this, but basically once you got drafted, right? And I only speak on some of this because my younger brother's in the NFL, so I've seen kind of things from he's still in the NFL. He's been in the NFL 14, 15 years. And, all of a sudden he's getting phone calls from people he ain't heard from in forever. He's getting text messages from people he ain't heard from forever. It seems to be like there's always this constant, I want to attach myself, to somebody, which I think is just true in all the sports, you know what I mean? Because everybody's looking to get ahead somehow, some way. I think maybe sometimes in SAC there's a lot of that, and that's what kind of discourages people from working together.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to just media too. I feel like a lot of basketball has just become social media and the cameras. I mean, even college sports, you see schools get into conferences, not because of how competitive they are, but I mean, Washington State, we went to March Madness, and now we don't have a conference.
Right.
So I think a lot of it has to do with money and media, and I think, I mean, you don't really have crazy Ball is Life is not coming to Sacramento.
Yeah. No. That's a. Yeah.
I mean, we have I think Simply Basketball.
Simply Basketball, they're the ones doing our biggest platform.
But I mean, even they're in the Bay Area kind of. So I mean, I think that's probably one of the biggest things. We don't have a crazy big platform. I mean, Ball's Lives are always in L.A., Florida, or whatever it is. So I think that can be one of the things that it kind of sets us back.
And that's the thing, trying to create our own market, create our own lane, which is tough, but it's just one of those things you got to work at day in, day out. You how are you adjusting to this quote unquote NBA life now? Because it hasn't even necessarily started for you, but it has. You know what I mean? Like we were joking about earlier, all the kids coming up to you, just happy to meet you and take photos with you, and you seem to be handling it all really well. I'm sure your followers on social media them blown up. You go from a few thousand to 10,000+. How has this transition been for you?
It hasn't been that bad. Honestly, I forget sometimes that I'm in the NBA. I was in Vegas, and I was just I'm hungry. I went down to the food court in the Vegas hotel.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, all these people are coming up to me.
And you're like, what are y'all coming up?
I'm like, okay, yeah, that's just a bad decision. But yeah, just probably just got to remember.
Right, that you're in the league a little bit.
Not the best idea. But I think the biggest thing for me is just getting settled, all the non-basketball stuff, getting all that taken care of. That's probably taking the most of my time right now. It's just anything that's not basketball that I need to house, getting my paychecks figured out, and where I'm gonna put the money and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
once I get all that non-basketball stuff figured out, I think everything will be pretty smooth.
Well, man, like I said, you got a level head on your shoulders, man, and I know you got a good family support. What do you think of there's this another one, a topic I bring up quite often, but with college and NIL, the kids getting paid, people making money. Like a good example I keep bringing up is because he was a Sacramento kid, was Coleman Hawkins. Coleman decided to go back to school, but they said he has. Now again, who knows the truth? But they say he has like a $2 million NIL deal and things like that. I mean, it's pretty surreal. You know what I mean? Like people can be in college and make some dough. What's your overall thoughts on that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of similar to like choosing an AAU team. Like it's kind of like what you're looking for. I think it's good because, I mean, there's some players that probably won't ever get paid that amount ever again.
Right.
But if you're going to if you can go to the NBA, I feel like going to a school just because of the money isn't the right decision. I mean, like Washington State didn't have the greatest NIL, but I think I think it's good that we can get paid, but I think also people are just making decisions for money. I think taking the cut on your paycheck now and being able to have the chance to develop in the right system and being able to get the NBA money later. Like I feel like you shouldn't be making decisions based off money. But I also think it's good. For example, like you said, Coleman Hobby's getting paid $2 million.
Yeah.
And he still has a chance to be in the NBA next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then there's guys that they've been in college for 5th year, going into their 6th year. Maybe they might be too old to even get into the NBA or too short or whatever it is. And I think it's good for them. They get to be a college superstar, make $1.5 million, and then go play overseas or something.
Yeah.
Like I think that's good.
No doubt. Like it's very interesting. I'm trying to word this correctly. With NIL and the potential money that a lot of kids are making, like you said, you have to use discernment on what's best for you, right? You have to figure out, okay, is it better if I go for money if I know I'm not making it to the league, but do I only want to chase the money? Do you think we're going to start to lose the spirit of the game, which is, about competing and winning? Do you think that's something that could potentially get lost at the collegiate level is what I'm saying?
I mean, I feel like the money might make it more about competing and winning, honestly.
Okay.
Because now schools are literally buying players.
Right.
So it kind of makes it like an NBA. Like, there's no joke in the NBA if you're not performing, you're out.
Yes.
Because they're paying for you.
Yeah.
So I think now that they're paying for players in college, it's kind of like the same thing. Like,
okay.
If we're giving you $200,000 this year and you suck, we're not giving you $200,000 again. So go and transfer.
Right. So you think it's like added that, putting that pressure on, like, hey, we're giving you this check, you got to get it done. Yeah.
But then it's like the schools that are disadvantaged don't have that can't pay the $100,000s and $1 millions. Like, I think it kind of might take away the competing for them.
Right.
Just because they're not gonna be able to get the greatest players.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, but there's levels for everybody, right? And statistically, again, I speak on this on the show. Only 7% of high school athletes get to play any level of college. Only 7% of varsity athletes. So I tell kids all the time, or young men like yourself, like, listen, if you did 2 years at JUCO and that's it, yeah, maybe you want to go further, maybe it didn't work out for whatever reason, but even the fact that you did 2 years at JUCO puts you in a very, very small group, because a lot of high school guys don't play after high school.
Yeah.
So I always try to keep it in perspective like that, because I think sometimes people have this notion of D1 or bust, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just doesn't work that way. Like I said, you're living proof. It doesn't always work out the glamorous way, but it's about the work and the discipline, right? When if you could speak to kids and parents right now who are listening, what's some advice you would give these kids and parents that, well, we'll go kids first, then parents, but I'm saying kids that are hearing this or checking this out on YouTube and they're like, man, I want to try to be that. What are like maybe 2 or 3 things you think they should hear from you?
Yeah, I think it all starts with your work ethic. You just gotta want to be better. Obviously, no coach wants a player that's only in there just for practice and just to have the gear and just have a jersey on. So I think a lot of it just comes from that and just having a good attitude throughout. Not everything's gonna go your way. Just being able to find the positives and the negatives. If you're not getting playing time, well, at least you're gonna be the first one to stand up when the player gets subbed out. You're gonna be like, even if you're not playing the game, what are you going to do to help your team win? I think that's big on being that type of player. And also just kind of just run your own race. Don't be worried about the media and if you're not getting mixtapes now.
Right.
Or, I didn't get my first mixtape. It was like a Simply Basketball mixtape, and I was probably my junior year.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's really – it's important in a sense, but it's not really important when you're young because – it's all about where you end, Obviously, I didn't start when I started. Not many people thought I was going to be where I'm at.
Right.
But it's kind of, you just got to run your own race, take your own path. It doesn't matter how slow it is. Just got to. It's about the finish line, not what's happening in between. Just got to keep going forward. Whatever it is, just keep pushing forward.
Okay. And then what would you say to parents of kids? Because that's the big controversial thing with AAU. Parents are insane. I'm sure even you can remember in your AAU games some parents in the crowd that you're like, what the hell is wrong with that? You know what I mean? Like, and I can tell you it's gotten worse. It's gotten better in some instances, it's gotten worse. I will, I say some parents and kids have gotten softer. I'm a tough coach, you know what I mean? I don't know if you remember seeing me coach when you were younger, but I'm a tough coach, you know what I mean? I teach the game in the new style of the play and how fast it is, and the 4-out, 1-in, the 5-out. I teach college schemes. I teach a system type of play, right? Even in AAU, it's not the roll the ball out there, do whatever you want shit. I don't teach that, but I'm still a cut from like the Bobby Knight, the Greg Popovich. I got some old school grit in me because just quite honestly, that's the Oakland in me. That's how we grew up. So. Some parents can vibe with that, some can't, right? Some, they're like, well, my son feels like you don't like him. It's like, well, did I tell him I didn't like him? No. Well, then I'm sorry he feels that way because I screamed at him to make a left-hand layup or practice a left. I think sometimes, I know for a fact, parents confuse tough coaching with personal attacks. Right. You know what I mean? And I'm like, if I disrespect your child and attack them, then by all means I fucked up. I did wrong and I can wear that. But if I just simply if I got 12-year-old Jalen Wells and you struggling to make left-hand layups and I'm screaming at you, hey, you need to go practice left-hand layups. Yeah. I know your dad's not coming at me thinking like, don't you yell at my son. Like, no, he's like, you're damn right, you need to go practice your left-hand layups, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just letting your kid be themselves. Like, let them react themselves to whatever that criticism was. Like, even, like, Coach Wall is crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
But that was, like, one of the things my dad loved about him was that, like, he was so passionate about winning. And he would do anything, like, we went to before I went to Folsom High School. We went to like a high school game. I think it was when Jordan Ford was playing.
Nice.
And they weren't playing too well. He was throwing a fit on the bench. He was yanking players out.
I've seen Mike Wall flip out.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of the things my dad loved. Like he's real. Like he's a real person. Like he's gonna be real with you when you're playing basketball. So I think that's one of the biggest things, just letting your kid be criticized and not always having their back when a coach is getting on them. Allow them to be able to react their own way, figure their things out on themselves. Maybe they shed a tear. Oh well, do they go back? Do they go back and into that same coach, keep playing and try to get better? So I think it's a lot of it, just letting your kid be able to self-motivate himself.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, parents got to sacrifice a lot of time, putting your kid in the right position, taking them to practice, or do it, whatever it is. But I think at the end of the day, it's about what's inside them.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't push them their whole career.
Right.
So I think that just kind of lets you know if they want it or not.
Yeah, and I think it's just life lessons. You know what I mean? Ultimately, I'm a big firm believer that if the only thing I'm teaching you is basketball, then I'm not doing my job. You know, I want to teach these young kids that I'm fortunate enough to coach. I want to teach them life lessons too. You know what I mean? And one thing, 15, 20 years from now, when the ball stops bouncing for you, you're going, you know what I mean? You're gonna appreciate these life lessons you've learned along the way. One thing, Jay, you've definitely shown is, fucking perseverance and just an unwavering ability to work hard, for what you want. And that's something that's just going to help you in life. You know what I mean? That's just the older man in me talking to you, but that's going to be significant in your success in life. And I'm big on teaching that. And just be real, teaching young black men that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm biased in that too. I want to teach young brothers to learn to work hard, be successful, do things the right way. Yes, someone's not always going to be there to say, do you feel better? Or you got to pick yourself up and wipe your tears off and keep going. Do you think some of the kids are maybe a little mentally softer or, not able to be critiqued as much as even when you were playing?
Yeah, I'd probably say so. There's like a lot of coaches that you go back and you're like that's how you treating them now? Like, you didn't do them like that when we were
right, you're like, you nicer now. Kai gave me shit the other day. But he was like, you too nice now, Chris. Why you so? I'm like, dude, they're just not built the same.
Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from? If you have any clue or any guess?
I don't really know. I'd say social media.
Okay.
I mean, everything you do on social media, everything's critiqued these days. Like, everything's recorded, everything's on camera, everyone has an opinion.
Right. And I think nobody wants to be on the receiving negative side of all that, right? But that's not life. You know what I mean? It's if you're trying to be liked by everybody, to me, you're not doing anything significant, because there's someone that's not going to like something you're doing. If it's especially if it's positive, you know what I mean? There's always people that are going to hate on positivity. It's just the nature of life. What I wanted to ask you or just circle back in my head, about the kids and sometimes the adjustment or the evolution of what's going on. What do you think might be the next? Let me rephrase this. With basketball basically becoming worldwide popular, right? The Olympics showed that, and the skill level and the abilities of people. I just had Isaiah on my IG Live show yesterday, and we were talking about that with him playing with the Puerto Rico national team and all that stuff. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, what do you think basketball is going to evolve into? Now there's such a worldwide popular sport.
I feel like, there's so many talented players today. I think even the league's going to expand, obviously.
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be another league that's similar, maybe not same level as competition, but very similar.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably still making. No one's gonna make
NBA. NBA money is,
but
yeah.
it's something
still
close to
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
I feel like, just in a different country, maybe Spain or whatever it is. I feel like there's just enough players for that now.
Yeah.
To where there would be I don't know, what's the top league in Spain?
It's Regional A1 or something like that. Just in Australia, they have the NBL, the National Basketball League. That's their top league. I feel like
one of those top leagues starts slowly catching up to the NBA, and you'll see guys play in that rather than NBA.
Yeah.
And now there's actually like a real decision, like where do you want to play?
And making good money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So no, I agree. I agree with you. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. Turning my IG live on real quick. So get a few quick questions from anybody checking it out on the IG live side. So what's up? If you are looking at the IG live, I'm going to be on live for about 10, 15 minutes. If you got some questions, go ahead, type them in. Go ahead, ask Jaylen while he's here. But in the meantime, we're going to keep rolling with the show. You can listen a little bit and chime in as you see fit. So I want to talk to you about the WNBA. You know, I'm sure you see it just like all of us, the evolution of it. Caitlin Clark, obviously what she's done with the league. What's your overall outlook and thoughts on that?
I think it's really cool how far it's came. I mean, I've probably watched the most WM games I ever have this year.
Right.
I mean, I'm like constantly looking at the scores, like trying to see like what Caitlin.
Yeah, for real.
Angel Reese, Asia Wilson. So yeah, I think it's great.
Okay. Do you obviously the biggest thing is, you know, they want money, right? They want to get paid. They want to get paid. They want to get paid. I talked about it on my last show, well, a few shows, but one I recently talked about it was when Marcellus was here. And, you know, I said, you know, if you want to see the WNBA thrive, we got to get butts in the seats. Right. That's just the reality of it. I encourage young women hoopers, you know, especially girls like that, you know, like go watch these players, go watch them hoop, go watch them play. You know, that's the easiest and best way to support them. Is that something, you know, if you get an opportunity to do, is that something you think you might start doing too, you know, going to the games and kind of trying to show support that way?
Yeah, I was actually kind of sad, like Memphis doesn't have a close WNBA team.
Yeah.
I definitely went, like, during my pre-draft process, I was trying, like, because I was gone for like 2 months in different cities. I was trying my hardest to catch a WNBA game, but I just couldn't, like, nothing lined up at the same time.
Yeah, no, but well, I think it's cool. Like, you know, in the Bay, they're gonna start the Valkyries, right? So that'll be another team. I know ultimately I would love to see another WNBA team make it out here, like when they had the Monarchs. You know what I mean? I think Sacramento has the market for it, right? Especially with the arena downtown and whatnot. So no, I think it's in a good spot. What do you think, if you have an opinion on some of the hate that Caitlin Clark seems to receive from, you know, the league? Kind of like they don't outwardly say it, but I think sometimes, you know, there's a little bit of hate there. And I like Cheryl Swoops has just got in the media because they were like, oh, she has. I don't fucking know all that. I'm just saying from what I've observed and seen, it seems like some people really love Caitlin and what she's brought to the organization, like Indiana Fever and all that, and the league as a whole. And there seems to be some people that have issue with it. So I'm just curious from your thoughts on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious. You can't deny like what she's done for the league.
Yeah.
Obviously, numbers have skyrocketed. I obviously feel like she's a part of that.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's other players, Angel Reese. There's a lot of other new rookies that help that too. But yeah, I mean, I feel like part of it, you know, it's that rookie treatment.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like she's getting a little bit of that rookie treatment. A little bit of it's overboard.
Right.
But you know, I think it's still a competitive league. They're not just gonna let a rookie come in and you know,
and take all the shine, right?
And I think, like, I mean, obviously there's gonna be haters. There's gonna be people who love her. Not comparing her to LeBron, but like it's kind of like LeBron. Like some people think he's the greatest player of all time. Some people think he's the softest person of all time.
Right.
So I mean, I think when you're that impactful as Caitlin Clark, like obviously you're gonna have extreme haters and you're gonna have extreme people who love you. So
right,
I mean, that's kind of what it is.
Okay, and well, yeah, I think that's my only thoughts on that. Really, I mean, I want to just see I want to see the league keep growing, and you know, because I have a daughter. You know what I mean? Like I want to see these young women have aspirations. I train, you know, plenty of young women and young girls that have aspirations to make it pro. So I would love to see the league grow and thrive and have one right here back home in the backyard. So, you know, that's my my soapbox stance. Like, you know, people get to the games and get in the seats and, you know, help it thrive. For you, playing, circling back, just kind of the summer league and what you've experienced thus far. I only have a few more questions before we get out of here, but playing in that environment, right? Kind of looking forward to your first preseason game out on that court and things like that. Getting used to the travel, like you said, you've been flying all over the place and things like that. What's been the biggest challenge, or has there been a challenge for you with all that?
I wouldn't say, no, I haven't really been facing too many challenges. Obviously, like, getting used to those flights. I mean, at least you're flying first class a little bit.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
all of them are actually first class. So, so in pre-drafts, they obviously organize the flights for you.
Yeah.
There's some organizations where, they're really about their stuff. They're going to put you in first class. They're going to put you in the best hotel room.
Right, right.
And then there's some organizations that you're in the back corner, middle seat.
Right.
Yeah, but getting off those flights is tough. Like, as far as your body, like,
and getting used to the time zones and all that stuff.
You'll work out. You'll be in the facility from about 10 to 3. They're taking you straight to the airport.
Oh wow.
You fly into the next city, wake up the next day. Now you got to work out again 10 to 3. So that was definitely taxing on the body. But I actually think one of the greatest things for me was just at Sonoma State. Like I said, I was doing literally everything.
So you kind of self-taught.
So
how to take care of yourself.
Yeah. So being by myself, and having just to take care of myself every single day without staff and everything was it was kind of like second nature.
Yeah.
I mean, I did that for 2 years.
Okay.
So I mean, yeah, that wasn't really too hard for me.
So it's like you basically you learned to Kobe said it, listen to your body.
Yeah.
Right. You learn to listen to your body, which is great. That's a great skill. That's gonna help you big time. You So can you talk to me about the game you had in Vancouver? Was that like a summer league thing, or
it was
what?
A little pro-am game in Vancouver. My agent's from Vancouver, so
okay.
It was kind of like a little vacation all in one.
Nice.
But yeah, I actually didn't think I was gonna be able to play. I was having back spasms.
Okay.
And I was like trotting up the court at the start of the game. But it was cool because you got to play. Shaden Sharp was there. Malachi Flynn was on my team. But it was a cool environment. It was you heard of Simon Fraser University?
No, I haven't heard that one.
But yeah, it's kind of like their gym was kind of like a big high school gym. So the environment was the stands, those packed.
Yeah.
A whole lot of kids there. It was just great energy.
Yeah, no, I saw the video and saw it was
Yeah.
cool. And well, it's funny you said you had back spasm, dropped 50 points. So
Yeah.
And I guess once the adrenaline was pumping, you was like, screw it. I mean, that's what I mean when because you've had these scoring outbursts, kind of throughout your career for sure. After your senior year of high school and collegiately and whatnot. When you're in that mode, does it just come naturally? Do you is it a feeling you have for the game, or you just kind of boom, a couple go in, bang, bang, and then now you it just feels good. You know what I mean? We all know as hoopers what we talk when we're in that zone, but I'm just saying you seem to catch it at the right times, man. Is it what?
Yeah, I feel like I catch it at the right time just because I'm not a player who forces it.
Okay.
I'm not going to force myself into the zone. I'll naturally get in the zone, playing defense, get a couple steals here, get a dunk, and that's how I get in the zone. So I feel like a lot of it just comes naturally. And I mean, obviously, I've been a shooter my whole life, so
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of just second nature, being able to shoot those shots. But yeah, I think a lot. That's one of the biggest things. Not just being a shot chucker and just
right.
going out there and hopefully I make my first 3 step back 3-pointers and then I'll be hot for the rest of the game.
Right.
I kind of like to get hot. That's outside of offense.
Yeah. So through the flow of the game, right?
Yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, I think that's good to hear because a lot of my youth athletes and maybe some are watching right now. Let me see my live, see if anybody's asking. Okay, yeah, few people looking, but no, some of the kids might be looking at stuff. Are listening to this, I think, like you said, because of the social media aspect and the highlight culture, you do have a lot of athletes trying to force things instead of just letting the flow of the game, come to them. How important do you think that is for some kid? how important do you think it is there's a two-part question. How important do you think it is for developing youth athletes to learn the flow of the game and at the same time have a high IQ of the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously really cool to be that flashy player. You know, there's a lot of very skilled players that don't make it at the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Because coaches don't really want that. You know, for example, like going into the league, like they wouldn't want me if I was a person who needs the ball the whole time, and you know they have jaw. You know, Jaw's gonna have the ball.
No doubt.
So why do they need me to have the ball all the time as
Right.
a rookie? So they need those 3-and-D players. They need the people that just know how to play their role, and you know take their own opportunities when they have it.
Yeah.
So I think it's just as important just to make it at the next level. Coaches aren't really looking for. They're not. I mean, they could be, but they're not always looking for that score that is
Right.
going to come off 5 ball screens of possession and chuck a shot up. But yeah, like you said, like if you look at my high school mixtapes, they suck. I'm probably the most boring mixtape of all time.
Hey man, boring. As my man Bernard Seal said, boring drills pay the bills. So that's all right. So and that was kind of my last NBA question for you. Is you know, have you had a chance to meet Ja or talk to him or you know?
No. So when I was down there for about 3 weeks just working out. It was more just like first and second year players. So I mean, Jake LaRavia, Gigi Jackson, Luke Kennard was there, Zach Edey, Cam Spencer, of course. Probably the only vet was there was Marcus Smart.
Okay.
He came for about 3 or 4 days, and then I think he's probably just working on his own.
Oh yeah. I'm sure you got a chance to kind of sit and talk with these guys and things like that.
Jaren Jackson. Met him at like a 2K event. It was pretty cool.
Nice. And overall, the vibe feels cool. I mean, I'm sure, like you said, you're the rookie, so they're going to give you a little bit of crap. But, like,
no, I mean, it's a young team overall.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You guys are a young
really
team
only
overall.
vets is like Marcus Smart. Is he considered a vet?
I guess, because this got to be, what's his, 9th year?
Okay,
Maybe
yeah.
9th, 10th
Marcus
year?
Smart, Derrick
He's gotta
Rose.
be,
That's probably the only 2 vets I can think of.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to kind of getting out on the court with a player like Ja and
Definitely.
You know,
Especially just knowing I'm a player that really excels at my role. I think I really play well with him.
No, yeah, I think that's gonna be really cool to see. Obviously, see someone I personally know out there doing their thing and going out there and killing it. Is there anything? I only have a few more questions for you, but I'm just saying, is there anything? Is there any news or anything you want to get out there? And if not, do you have any interests or things that you personally have an interest in outside of hoop that maybe, you know, people don't know about, or things that, you know, that you might enjoy? Because I'm big on this show on humanizing you guys. You know, I know we can, you know, from the outside looking in, people could just look at you like you're just a basketball machine. But it's like, you know, I'm trying to humanize you, man. Like, you know, what other interests might you have outside of hoop?
I got 2 things. One, I like editing videos. You know, I just started a YouTube channel where it was like I took my mom's old camera.
Yeah.
I just took it around throughout the Washington State season.
Okay.
So I just had a bunch of like behind the scenes footage.
Nice.
So I've been making videos of that because it's called like the Crimson Chronicles. So it's gonna have like 4 or 5 parts.
Very cool.
So I mean, I just like make editing videos every once in a while.
Yeah.
And then I got Sleep Nation. You know, I don't know if y'all know AD. It was like it's like a movement that for players that are underrated. So it kind of relates to me and his story.
Yeah.
We used to do like open runs and record the runs and then make videos for them. Just kind of getting it out there, get the Sacramento community together, and just kind of highlight overlooked players that you know I feel like they should be highlighted. So I'm gonna start putting a lot more time into that.
Okay.
Me and AD
Trying to provide that platform. That's what Marcellus, you know, is doing at ARC. So it's that's what I'm saying. I feel like we're all in, and obviously me with this little podcast of mine, but I feel like we're all in our own way trying to put more and more spotlight on the Sacramento scene, which is great to have. You know, I'm trying to think before I forget the last couple things. Like I said, I memorize my script all the time. But no, well, outside of those ventures and things like that, have you ever thought of what you might, like, have you ever thought of when you stop playing? Would you have ever think of coaching or going into training or anything like that yourself?
I think one of the biggest things I stopped playing would be start like Sleep Nation, whatever it is, like making it like a service or helping be like a recruiting service or just something in Sacramento that brings people together, brings hoopers together. Have like big camps and just start like a good community throughout Sleep Nation and expanding it.
Okay. I want to, something you got me thinking of with the social media aspect. More and more kids, I think, need to hear from guys like you that, it's not all about the highlights that can get you noticed.
Yep.
What do you find when you're playing, like you said, getting yourself going, getting yourself scoring and stuff? Do you break things down like simplistically as you play or in your mind? You know what I mean? Like, I'll give an example. Like, I tell my kids, listen, if you want to be a double guy, right? You want to score 10 points a game. Well, 10 points is 5 layups. That's when you start breaking it down to the kids like that, they're like, oh yeah, that's true. It's like, it's 5 layups. I can guarantee you could probably get one of those layups if you get an offensive rebound, right? If you do that twice, that's 4 points right there. If you do a backdoor cut, you got 6 points. If you can make a mid-range shot, like a mid-range shot, that's 10 points. If you can catch and shoot a 3, there you go. You're at 11, right? As for you, is that kind of your process and your scoring, or is it just kind of like, no, I get to this spot, I'm good scoring here? Like, I'm just curious on your take on how you score out there, how you get a feel for scoring out there.
A little bit, but I rarely think about like how much I'm going to score. So it's not really like something that goes through my mind. But that's actually exactly what my dad used to say.
Oh,
like,
for real? Oh, yeah.
Like, because Folsom's offense is really like structured, like a lot of cuts and everything. So he used to be like, okay, like if you want to get 20 points, you're obviously going to get to the foul line 2 or 3 times. You make 4 or 5 free throws. That's already 5 points. You're going to get the 3. You're going to get 2 3-pointers. That's another 6 points right there. And then just out of the offense, you're going to get 2 backdoor cuts, a curl. That's another 6 points, and then you're going to get a fast break. That's 20 right there. Yeah. And that's kind of how I used to like think of it.
Yeah, just break it down. It's funny, like
that's nothing like that's not even a highlight too.
Right,
so,
right.
I mean, say you get hot, now you got an extra. You score 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Now you got an extra 6 points again, and now you get a really good high scoring game. You're
just breaking it down simply. Talk to me about draft night. That was what I wanted to ask you about. The atmosphere, the anticipation. Did you have any nervousness in there? I mean, just kind of, what was that experience like?
I think some of the nervousness was taken away just because I knew I was going to get drafted.
Okay.
But I didn't know what kind of contract I was going to get. So that was probably one of the biggest things that was up in the air.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was 2 days this year. I went to the first day, didn't get drafted. So it's kind of weird. Like, you go there, you get ready for draft day.
Right.
And you don't get drafted, so now you can go back to your hotel, sleep on it. But then, so the second day, it's at a different venue. It's called like an ESPN facility along the water. So you go in, and there's like a waiting room. There's the waiting room, and then you have I think it's like the green room, which is like the whole setup.
Yeah.
Everyone starts off in the waiting room, and then when the draft starts, they take like 7 players down into the green room. They think they're going to get like first 7 picks. So they're already ready down there.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a part of that first 7. So I'm just sitting in the waiting room, we're just watching on the TV. And it gets to about the 37th pick, and my agent's telling me, like, okay, like, we're probably going to the Clippers at 46.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll probably go down to the green room around pick 38, 39.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to LA. And then it gets to pick 38, and they're like, okay, you're probably gonna get picked at 46, so let's take you down.
Right.
So they're taking me down. Pick 38 goes by, and now it's like Memphis is on the clock. And So my agent didn't know that I was going to Memphis
Okay.
before I walked down. So
Oh, wow.
the agents don't go with you.
Yeah.
It's just me, my mom, my dad, and my little cousin.
Okay.
So we're walking down to the green room, and we're all thinking, okay, we're going to LA.
Yeah.
6. We'll probably sit down here for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, so I guess they call my agent, say we're about to draft your guy. In the middle of like pick number 39. So we're walking down still. We have no idea. The ESPN lady runs into like the stairway. She's like,
Yeah.
"You're getting picked right now. Like, so hurry up." So, like,
And
throw
you're
my-
probably like, what?
Yeah, I don't even know who pick 39 is. So I throw my water bottle. Me and my family are just like running through the hallway.
Yeah.
And then we sit down at the table, like where they showed the camera.
Yeah.
That was like 5 seconds after we sat down.
Oh, wow.
So I literally sat down, stood right back up, and yeah, I didn't even know Memphis was pick 39. So
Oh, wow.
I didn't know until the logo showed up.
Yeah.
When they called my name. So yeah, that was a crazy experience.
And see, people don't know the behind the
Yeah.
scenes. They just see the after effect, right?
Yeah.
When when you heard your name, can you talk about, maybe some of the emotions you felt, some of the things that were flashing in your head? Obviously I'm like you said, your mom and your dad were there. I'm sure you looking at them, hugging your moms, hugging pops, like, can you talk about that feeling? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was surreal. I blacked out a little bit. If you watch the interview, like right when I got drafted,
Yeah.
I think I say something that's not related to the question. I didn't hear the question,
Right.
so I kind of just said like something in general that might answer it.
Hey, but at least you're being real. Like, that's what I'm saying.
But yeah, I think my parents didn't even know what to think. Like they knew I was gonna get drafted, but like actually hearing it and experience it,
Yeah.
and hearing my name, it's kind of crazy. I mean, you work 20 years for this one moment,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of times where you don't even know if it's actually gonna be true.
Right.
And then it finally comes true, and yeah.
Did I mean, I know I text you too, I think, like, said congratulations and stuff, but how many messages did you get? Are you still opening them right now?
I think my phone died on the way home.
Oh,
my
man.
phone just kept turning on and off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I tried to get it back to everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a lot.
So you got drafted next day, right? Like you said, turn your phone on, the realization's in, oh crap, I just got picked up by an NBA team. Like, you wake up that next day, what's the thoughts going through your head?
Well, actually, before I answer that, one of the texts I actually got right when I got drafted, it was it said, "Congrats, bro! Like, go Grizz" or something like that.
Mhm.
But -12. I'm thinking like, it's 12.
Yeah.
Like, what random number just text? And I was like, oh, and I realized it's John Morant.
It was John. Oh, it was John.
I was like, who? Like,
Who?
what, -12.
Right. It's like, oh crap, that's John. Okay,
yeah.
that's crazy.
But yeah, I woke up the next day, and I mean, a lot more messages.
Right.
But I mean, we had to fly right to Memphis. But yeah, it was kind of just crazy. Just I mean, like when you see things like, oh, Memphis Grizzlies followed you, or Memphis Grizzlies posted you, or tagged you,
right.
and you're getting all these like followers from your teammates and everything. Like it's
No,
like those little things that like you don't really like think about.
Yeah.
And then it happens, and then it just makes it feel crazy.
Yeah, no. Like I said, this is a unique opportunity to really talk to someone who's in real time experiencing this. So that's why I'm asking these questions, because just quite honestly, shit, I don't know anybody that just got drafted like other than you, but like, so what did your dad or your mother say anything to you that like really stuck with you from that night, or was it just having their presence helped a lot?
Yeah, I think just their presence in general. 'Cause I mean, they're always present throughout my whole career.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to just experience it with them was probably greatest feeling.
And did you ever because every hooper especially ball players that really love this game, we always have in the back of my mind, we want to play pro, we want to play pro, we want to play pro. But like, did you ever at some point start to believe or see like, you know what, this might really happen for me? You know what I mean? Or did you just know at an early age this is something you wanted to aspire to do? I mean, be good at basketball. I'm sure you always wanted to aspire, but I'm just saying like, make it to the NBA.
I mean, obviously, in the back of my mind, I always wanted to play in the NBA.
Yeah.
When I really felt like it's really close just for me to reach for it, it's probably just transferring to Washington State, knowing I have that platform, knowing that it's literally just up to me. Like, I have the platform to get there. Person a year before did it. So I mean, it's really up to me. That's probably one of my biggest motivations, was just knowing that I made it out of the where people weren't really watching me. Now I have scouts are watching me and all this. So I mean, I just had to perform. So I think that was probably one of the biggest things. But I think going to Sonoma State my freshman year, like I said, obviously back in my mind I'm thinking NBA. But the front of my mind, I'm thinking, all right, 4 years at Sonoma State, probably play overseas, have a good career overseas. Hopefully I'll sneak into the G League and get into the NBA. But yeah, that's honestly what I was thinking.
Yeah, no.
A good 4. I'm thinking I'm gearing up for my senior year.
Yeah.
For Sonoma State right now, trying to win a CCAA championship.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what it would have. Well, like I said, that's what it would have been. Like, no.
I think the craziest part about all of it was kind of just knowing that I didn't have a full scholarship my freshman year, and then the second semester I finally got bumped to a full scholarship, which I'm actually really thankful for, because they didn't have to do that at all.
Yeah.
Because second semester is not even basketball season.
Right. No doubt.
So it really went out his way and just said like, yeah, we have some extra.
Like
money,
we'll cover you. Yeah.
And he knew. I mean, he kind of knew I was already out the door.
Yeah.
So he really just did out the kind like.
But that's good that he supported you like that, because you hear stories of college coaches more or less doing the opposite. Like they're kind of like, yeah, screw you, you want to leave, but it's really cool.
Sonoma's probably my biggest supporter in leaving.
That's really cool, man.
Just being able to. They knew they didn't have resources that other could offer, so.
Right.
So yeah, I was grateful for that.
No, and can you speak on that a little bit too? That question just kind of popped up in my mind. Is maybe tell kids, maybe, and this is more, I would say, speaking to high school kids and parents, the importance of, taking opportunities instead of, like I alluded to earlier, D1 or bust, or, you know what I mean? Like, maybe you can speak to them about, the importance of really looking at the opportunities in front of you.
Yeah. 'Cause I mean, I feel like if I didn't choose to go D2, I probably wouldn't be here. Because it's just so important to get to a place that wants to develop you, and once you as an actual person in their program, and is going to actually every day want you to get better. Because even if I did, like I said, 4 years. 4 years at Sonoma State, and I went pro. Like, that's a great career.
Yeah, no doubt.
A lot of people haven't done that.
Yeah. And you still get your education.
Exactly.
Like, that's another part of it too.
Graduate with a degree. I'm able to play basketball and get paid.
Yes.
But so I don't want people to like think, oh, let's go D2 to go D1.
Mm-hmm.
Like that wasn't my mindset at all.
Right.
Like I honestly thought I was gonna be there all 4 years.
That's cool. Again, you saying that just is big, because I think that will resonate with a lot of kids in your situation.
It was really cool, because one of my first, it was like a second pre-draft workout. It was with a guy who played all D2.
Really?
His name was Kelvin James. He went to like a really good D2, and I want to say like the East Coast or one of those. And he was just like telling me why he stayed at D2, and he was just like, he built a lot, and like they just love him there. And it was just the right place for him to like develop. He didn't end up getting drafted, but I think he has like some opportunities for like
overseas or something like that. Yeah.
Or even like G League.
Okay. Like,
So I think that was really cool too. Just being able to another D2 guy, being able to work out with him. That was pretty cool.
And well, like I said before we close out of here, for the kid that says, I want to make it to the NBA. I want to be a Jalen Wells. You know, I want to be a kid from Sac who makes it pro. I want that. Like, you know, because some kids, they're gonna flat out just want that. And I do think that starts. You know, that's the start of anything. You got to have a desire, right? Will it always happen? Of course not. There's going to be more that don't make it than that do, right? But it still comes from somewhere. I want you to maybe give a few words to that kid that's listening and is like, you know, I want to be pro. Like, what advice can you give them? What words of encouragement? You know, what could you say to that kid?
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways you just have to be different. I mean, a lot of times you can tell a kid that's different than the rest of the team. Those hard workers that's always in the gym, you know, they're not skipping reps. I mean, you can kind of just tell. I mean, there's a lot of players that when you're young, they might seem like, I mean, they grow faster than you, or they might be stronger than you at the moment. But at the end of the day, you're all gonna hit your growth. You're all gonna hit you're all gonna hit puberty. You're all gonna, you know, get that testosterone. And so when that happens, who's really going to be the best? You know? I mean, it doesn't even matter about your height. But yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, you just got to work until you get that opportunity. Once you get the opportunity, you just got to shine. I was going to say something. Oh, back to the Sonoma D2 thing.
Yeah.
I think like some kids just like trying to send their kid D1 just. Hopefully they'll make it out of there. And for basketball, I think they're not all just looking for basketball.
Right.
I think sometimes you got to look at like their life. Not everyone's going to make the NBA.
Yeah, of course.
So you're sending your kid to D1. They don't really want them there, and they end up transferring 2 or 3 schools, and you've never really been in a place where they really wanted you there. So I think like D2, or not even just D2, but like just finding a place that really wants you there for all 4 years.
Yeah.
And whatever you be 1 and done, 2 and done, doesn't really matter. But just finding a place that actually wants you there for all 4 years, and wants to develop you and wants you to graduate. No,
man, that's really well. My last question for you before we cut out, it's an AAU question. I want to circle back to AAU. So when your dad had you playing AAU and stuff, did he have you playing like up all the time? I know that's just one of those topics where they're like, oh, every kid play up. But I'm just saying, did he do that with you as well?
Yeah, I definitely always played up. I played up, but I also I made sure to play my
age, right? You did both, right?
Like, for example, I play on this team called Cobras. Sometimes I would even play 2 grades up.
Okay.
That's just to battle with bigger people. Yeah. But really, like, when you work on your game, you know, play against people your age so that, you know, you can actually be successful and know what's successful. And then, I mean, it's obviously great to play against older people all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think obviously just you want to play up, but you also want to play your age, so you know you can actually gain some confidence.
Yeah. I think because the only reason I bring that up is just, you know, like I said, this show is mainly geared towards that. But on top of that, as a coach and everything, you know, I play my kids up and things like that, but I also play them at their own age group. But I think some parents are getting too swept up in that like play up field, like they're talking like, you know, you have like some of these little 2nd and 3rd graders playing against 5th graders. It's like that kid's body is so small and fragile. You know what I mean?
It's 5th graders that held back to you.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. You know, I try to tell
like
parents.
Me playing my own grade was me playing up. At some points, because it was just like everyone held back.
Exactly.
I'm young for my grade, anyways. So.
Yeah. No, and it's funny enough because that's probably the good thing. It was funny when Jordan was on the show. We talked about that. We said it's pretty interesting right now because, you know, because of the pandemic and things like that, colleges kind of want older kids, but the league still actually wants you younger.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a tough balancing act right now. You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, if you just basically, I guess if you're a kid that feels like, you know, I'm not going to make it to the league, but I could have a good college career. Okay, do I reclass and, you know, I guess get a little bigger, faster, stronger? But let's say you're a kid that, you know, you look at, hey, like a Cooper Flag, you know, that's just a kid comes up in mind. He reclassed up to hurry up and get out of there because the way it's looking, he's more than likely going to make it to the league, right? Yeah. So, you know, I think parents got to use some real, like, tactical thinking in their strategy now. Reclassing when you played was a thing, just like it's a bigger and bigger thing now. I think it's gotten too far, me personally. That's just my personal take. And when you have 16-year-olds in the 8th grade. I just think that's just ridiculous. You're going into your freshman year as a 17-year-old. You know what I mean? And I just at some point this is gonna come to a boiling point where it's just getting out of hand, right? I just didn't know. Again, you're out of AAU, you're removed from this crap, so it's kind of like, what's your take on the whole like reclass, double reclass, triple reclass thing or whatever?
Yeah, I was told my whole middle school, high school career that I should have reclassed, just because I was smaller than everyone and I was young for my grade. I'm really glad my parents never did it, just because, I mean, I could see if I sucked. Like,
Yeah.
if I sucked and I just couldn't compete with my grade, but that wasn't the case. So I think, I mean, just reclassing strictly for basketball, I think, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of like, it's a clouded decision. You kind of just focused on one thing. Yeah.
I mean, and this is my overall take on it. I say, hey, if you got to reclass 1 year, okay, that's what you got to do.
Yeah,
it is.
I mean,
But again, I agree that it shouldn't solely be basketball. I mean, it can be, but, you know, because some kids I've coached that reclass, you know, they have maturity issues. Mm-hmm. They're just not mature enough to start high school yet. You know what I mean?
Immature and everything, like, I can see that.
Right. But it's like, you know, but there are some kids that I think reclassing is valid because, like you said, they're young. Mm-hmm. But like Kai was a young senior when he graduated and things like that. But again, it worked out for you, worked out for him. So, you know, there's stories on every side. I keep advocating on this show, and I'm gonna keep telling you guys, you know, you have to use some strategy and use some discernment and critical thinking and do what's best for your kid, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's the best approach, you know. Thank you again, Jay. I appreciate you being here, man.
No problem.
I know you got a busy schedule, so when do you get out of here, or when do you fly out?
I'll be Sunday.
Sunday? Okay. Are you so from here? Is it going straight to Memphis, training camp, right to work?
It's Memphis. We used to do it'd be like workouts and open gym, and then training camp's not until like the first week of October.
Okay. Did you have any shout outs you wanted to do on the closing of the show real quick?
Shout out to my mom and dad. Shout out to DeAndre. Shout out to AD. And shout out to Coach Alicia.
Okay. No, man, again, really, really appreciate you taking the time to do this, Jay. Obviously, I wish you nothing but success. I wish you nothing but the best. You know, you're clearly more than have enough talent to, in my opinion, to be successful in the league. You know, it's just kind of a matter of the chips falling in the right place. But you've shown a knack for stepping up in big moments, and I don't all of a sudden see that going away. So, you know, just continue doing your thing, man. And again, thanks for being on the show. Again, I will, just so you all know, links to his social media will be in the description. So please, I suggest go follow him, go see his journey, support. I'm always proud to have the opportunity to sit down with these young men, and they can tell you their journey, their testimonial. If you made it to the end, you're a real one. Do the HBO special. Again, maybe hit that like and subscribe. Until then, be safe, take care of your body, work hard, practice hard, grind hard. Good outcomes will be there. And we are out.